Welcome to the Mystic Media channel. I am your host, Ravina Rastaban, aka the Realist Astrologer, and today I am going to get into the dark-sided Virgo female. So, right off the bat, the dark-sided Virgo female is utterly insecure. She's constantly hypercritical. She's fussy, perfectionistic, can be neurotic. She's hypersensitive, easily gets butthurt and bent out of shape over the smallest of things. She tends to complain incessantly. She could be a worrywart, and that's because she has a ton of nervous energy that she's working with. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is a sign that is very mental. Well, it's totally mental, it deals with the conscious mind, and through that, the nervous system. So a lot of times Virgo has issues with coping when it comes to major problems and difficulties. They tend to really act out and get all in a tizzy and in a just be like really stressed out. Also, they have a tendency to sweep shit under the rug only for it to come back and bite them in the ass later, and that deals with them not being able to cope. Also, they can't just go with the flow. They are backseat drivers, always trying to, tell you what's what and what you need to be doing. They tend to give out unsolicited advice, and a lot of times that advice is not even good advice. Uh, the dark side of Virgo female, she secretly enjoys suffering and being in stressful situations, and then she'll bemoan her fate. So, dark side of Virgo naturally attracts negative energy, and they can be screw ups in that vein. And they have a need to clean up messes, their messes as well as the messes of other people. So they are constantly attracting problems, and they tend to be natural problem solvers. But in that vein, they might be the cause of a lot of their problems. Also, the dark side of Virgo female has a hard time getting over past hurts. And if they have a troubled childhood, it's really going to be reflected in their adult life. And that's because Virgo has a need for stability, security, and consistency. So if that was lacking in their early childhood, they're going to be very dysfunctional as an adult. They can have mother issues, also daddy issues, and this is due to their perfectionistic tendencies. So Virgo expects their childhood to have been perfect. So if their parents fell short of what their ideal of a happy childhood was, they're really going to hold their parents at fault, and they're going to have a hard time letting go of the past and past hurts. Also, the dark sided Virgo female is too talkative and in that vein argumentative, just like the Gemini female. She's prone to give out harsh criticism. She likes to start shit verbally. She's prone to petty gripes and grievances. And she thinks she knows it all. So she's constantly telling you, what she's constantly trying to tell you how to fix your problems because she thinks she knows everything, thinks she has the answer for everything. She needs constant check-ins, constant reassurance that goes along with her insecure nature. She could be a clean freak, a germaphobe, and be hella nitpicky. So she could be very difficult to live with, the clean freak types. She could be high maintenance and come across as a prima donna. She could be a busybody, be a big time gossiper. Think about that Benita character from In Living Color. She would always be out her window gossiping or being on the sidewalk gossiping about everybody in the neighborhood, and she would always end it with, "But I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard it from me." Also, dark sided Virgo can be snitches. So if you're trying to keep a secret, don't tell them because they will snitch on you because they're full of all this nervous energy and they're constantly worrying. So they're prone to tell somebody if you confide in them with some sensitive information. A lot of times they're going to spill the beans because they just have to talk and get it out. Also, they always swear that someone is talking about them or mocking them. So, shout out to the pretty nerd, one of my realest subscribers, for this contribution. So, when she knew that I was about to produce my dark sided Virgo female video, she contributed that point. But she's right about that. That is so true. Also, the dark sided Virgo female tends to be cheap. She can be too practical, dollar store queen, and extreme couponer. She often makes a mess of things, as I said before, because um, she's always trying to fix things for people, and she'll claim that she was only trying to help or make things better. She can't leave well enough alone. She also has this self-denigrating thing about her, or she'll engage in ingratiating behavior and have a tendency towards self-loathing. And that's because Virgo is a sign that um, tends to come last in a lot of respects. It's not a sign of leadership, it's a sign of service. So, in that vein, that goes along with their insecure nature. Deep down inside, Virgo realizes that they don't have a high position in life. So, a lot of times they'll be extra hard on themselves. They'll ingratiate themselves to people who are in positions of power because they believe that that's the role that they're supposed to assume. Also, the dark sided Virgo female can be an animal hoarder because Virgo is the sign of pets and small animals. She's the quintessential cat lady. So those extreme hoarder uh, shows where the person has all of these pets, a lot of times that's dark sided Virgo. Also, dark sided Virgo female can be a hypochondriac, or she could be always sick. She wants everyone to know how sick she is, what's ailing her on a particular day, and how many medications she's on. Also, the very dark sided Virgo female can be prone to that Munchausen by proxy syndrome. Basically, that means, according to Wikipedia, it's a behavior pattern in which a caregiver, Virgo is one of the caregiving signs of the zodiac, Cancer is another one. So basically, it's a behavior pattern in which a caregiver or spouse fabricates, exaggerates, or induces mental or physical health problems in those who are in their care, usually to gain attention or sympathy from others. Virgo has a big need for sympathy. With deception at its core, this behavior is an elusive, potentially lethal, and frequently misunderstood form of child abuse or medical neglect that has been difficult to define, detect, and confirm. Also, dark-sided Virgo in general is a very helpful sign. They love to help people, but with dark-sided Virgo, they'll help you but have a hidden agenda at work. They'll help you in order to gain power over you. So they could be very passive aggressive in that respect. Just think about the movie Misery and Kathy Bates' character. She rescued Paul Sheldon, the writer of these mystery suspense novels. She was his biggest fan. She was a nurse. She rescued him when he was stuck in a snowstorm. His car, he got into a car accident. She rescued him, and then she basically trapped him and broke his both of his legs and stuff, and was basically like, you ain't leaving me. I'm your number one fan. Totally crazy, totally off the wall. But that is definitely dark sided Virgo. If you haven't seen that movie, check it out. Also, dark-sided Virgo, or Virgo in general, they have a tendency towards stomach and intestinal problems. They are IBS queens. IBS meaning irritable bowel syndrome. They tend to have bad gas, always belching, especially if they're stressed out or worried about something. One of their main symptoms of stress and worry and fear is having an upset stomach or having intestinal upset. So they might always be in the bathroom. They might even vomit if, they get really upset about something. They are also prone to eating disorders, especially bulimia. Um, Another thing about the dark sided Virgo female is she tries to play innocent, coy, and demure and helpless at times, but can be plotting all the while to gain power over you. So, again, I talked about that passive aggressive nature. So, a lot of times it's a front in order to gain power over you. They'll appear helpless or they'll appear that they need your help, and that's how they can move in on you. Also, Virgo, being a mutable sign, is prone to extreme violence. They can fly into a blind rage, but you won't see it coming. And they can even beat their own selves up. They can be efficient fighters, and in the extreme, they will pull a Al Green on you, basically throwing some hot grits on your ass. So if you don't know about the Al Green story, basically Al Green had this girlfriend and he was cheating on her. And while he was in the shower, She put on a pot of grits and was, cooking some grits. She must have put some seasoning salt in there, some onion powder and stuff. Was making it real good. He must have been smelling it like, oh, I'm about to get my grub on after I get out this shower. But she got into the bathroom. She lit his ass on fire by pouring some hot grits on his back. That's some shit some dark-sided Virgo female would do. Also, think about that movie, The Burning Bed. The Burning Bed, the main character was played by Farrah Fawcett, and her husband was hella abusive. So the way she got back at him was she made sure that he was drunk. This was after a night of him really laying into her and whooping her ass. And she poured gasoline all around his bed, and she lit that shit on fire. The whole house went up in flames and killed his ass. Now, I understand retaliation, and I'm not sympathetic to that dude at all, but that was extreme. That's extreme violence. So that's another dark side of Virgo. That movie, if you haven't seen it, The Burning Bed, it's available on YouTube. That is the epitome of a dark side of Virgo female, passive aggressive, but will get your ass when you're least suspecting it. Also, as mothers, dark-sided Virgos can be very strict, have a regimented militaristic style when it comes to parenting, can be all about routine, staying on schedule, constant check-ins, worries incessantly over her children's well-being, can be very neurotic about her children's health, their diet, their homework, practice in terms of sports. She may have some weird rituals that she does with the kids, and she will project unnecessary fear and worry onto her children. And she's also prone to create codependent parent-child relationships. So as a parent, she's often too involved, and that deals with her insecure nature. She always needs to know what's going on with her children. She's always worried about, them falling victim to harm, or, falling into some trouble. And also, she's one of the worst when it comes to drug addiction. Um, Drugs will literally break her down, and it really shows on the surface. So just think about that crackhead that's, in the street talking to herself. She has that real youthful frame because Virgo tends to maintain a very youthful frame. She's wandering the streets just in a bra and booty shorts, talking loudly to no one in particular. That's dark-sided Virgo all day. She's the kind that, she's a crackhead, but she'll be giving you advice as you're walking by, like stay in school or hold your sister's hand, boy. Yeah, that type. In terms of a marriage, she loves to henpeck her husband or man. Now, there's two types of dark-sided Virgo in terms of marriage and long-term relationships. There's a type that wants to be taken care of to the fullest, likes to be the dutiful housewife, but can be hella sneaky at the same time. And then there's the type that she'll basically sacrifice for her man. She may be working 3 jobs while her man is a stay-at-home dad, and basically he's a low-life loser. Um, a lot of times she'll seek out a father figure type of mate if a healthy relationship where her real father was lacking. So she'll play a very subservient, dutiful wife type of role if she's starving for that father figure mate, and she's often prone to attract abusive men in that respect. Sexually, she could be too routine, too predictable, vanilla, boring, and uneventful. Or to the other extreme, she could be over the top, freak nasty, likes to be humiliated, subdued, spit on, pissed on, talked down to, be slapped up, can be extremely submissive. So just think about Corinne Steffens, who's a Virgo, dark-sided Virgo. I did a video about her, so check it out in my video feed. Basically, her nickname is Superhead, and she has this story about she was performing fellatio on Cool G Rap, who was her boyfriend at the time, and she said that he had her do that until her nose bled. And basically, she was bragging about that. That's dark-sided Virgo all day, because Virgo likes to be in subservient positions, a lot of them, the dark-sided ones even, and that's how they obtain power, by being in these subservient positions, because they want to be the end-all be-all to their mate, and that's how they get their mate's allegiance and dedication. So just think about the Vestal Virgins mythology and Vesta. There's actually an asteroid called Vesta in astrology, and the traits of Vesta are very similar to the sign Virgo. Now, according to Wikipedia, Vesta was was a legend that dealt with the Roman goddess of fire, the hearth, the home. Basically, Vesta kept the fire burning and kept everyone warm. Vesta was in a position to help and to serve, which is definitely Virgo energy. Now, according to this book on asteroids, this astrological book I have, um, Vesta, while characterized as a virgin, was not really a virgin. So basically, they were kept for a specific purpose, the sexual and progeny needs of the hierarchy. So they were off limits to the common man, but they were serving those who were in rulership or who were in positions of power. And the sacrifice that they made was their own fire or their own individuality. They were depersonalized, they were objects or vessels. So, in all actuality, they were hoes, but they just weren't for the common man. So, the theme of sacrifice of the self is definitely Virgo. And Corinne Steffens, aka Superhead, is a perfect example of that. Also, the dark side of Virgo female can be very changeable. She could be unstable, constantly moving, constantly changing or changing things. If she doesn't like her job, she might be constantly going through job changes. If she's not in the right career, she might constantly be moving because she's so perfectionistic that something's always wrong, something always needs to be improved, something always needs to be corrected. So the dark sided Virgo female has a hard time just being stable and feeling secure. She's constantly, worrying about her current situation. It's a hard time for her to be happy and to feel satisfied with her current situation. So I'm just going to get into some celebrities that I feel have some dark-sided Virgo traits. Now, they may not be dark-sided altogether, but they definitely display some of the dark-sided Virgo characteristics. So Jada Pinkett is one of them. She's a dark-sided Virgo born on September 18th, which makes her a very hardcore Virgo. 18 is a very difficult number to navigate. But she's very neurotic, and she spoke about this in interviews about how she's always worrying about her children. She's always worrying about if everybody's okay, if everybody's doing well. So yeah, she's very neurotic, very severe in terms of her look. She has a youthful appearance, but you could tell she's very perfectionistic, very insecure because it looks like she's had some plastic surgery done. I was looking at a video of her before I did this video, and it looked like she might have even had a facelift because her cheekbones are like extra hard, extra severe. And when I looked at her profile on the side, it looks extra tight. So it looks like she might have had some plastic surgery. That's another thing. Dark side of Virgo female, if she has money, might be addicted to plastic surgery because of that perfectionistic tendency that she has. Another celebrity that displays dark-sided Virgo traits is Taraji P. Henson. Maybe not in her real life, but she definitely could play the role in terms of her acting career. So just think about her role as Cookie Lyons in Empire. She plays dark-sided Virgo to the hilt, being overly concerned or overly involved in her son's lives, being extra, nitpicky, trying to manage, everything that's going on, having a hidden agenda, like I said, trying to act like she's there to help, but having a hidden agenda. Can be real shady, very talkative, very hypercritical. Also, think about the role she played as Yvette in the movie Baby Boy. That's very Virgo. She displayed a lot of dark sided Virgo traits with that, where she was hitting on him, getting violent with him, and then, going to be all wondering why he lashed out at her and hit her and playing the victim role. Oh, Jody, why'd you hit me? But, she was bringing it first to him. So getting out of control, talking too much, always yak, 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 Jody this, Jody that, but still staying with him, still being the dutiful baby mama, stayed with him till the end, but complaining the whole time. So yeah, she definitely played the dark sided Virgo role in that movie, even though she wasn't totally dark sided, but she played that very passive, submissive role where, she's being victimized, but still staying with him and complaining the whole while. Also, Beyonce. Beyonce is a Virgo. I'm not saying she's totally dark sided, but she displays some dark sided traits. She has this persona when you see her in interviews where she appears to be kind of really helpless, or, she's not really seems like she's not really in control of her own destiny. It seems like she is in a subservient position, especially to Jay-Z. Um, she seems to be a basket case. It's in terms of her personal life. And just think about that video that surfaced where she was at, I guess it was the Knicks game or some basketball game, sitting next to Jay-Z, and she was just all out of it. She was just all like spaced out and just looking around and like, and that shows that she was on some type of sedative, and that deals with her not being able to cope with everyday life, always being stressed out, always being high strung, that nervous energy that Virgo is working with. So I would guess that. Oh, and also when Solange was going off on Jay-Z in that elevator scene, how Beyonce just stood back and was like totally passive. So that tells me that most likely she's on some type of sedative on a regular basis, because she's just so nervous and so high strung that she can't cope with everyday life and everyday problems. And then just think about how she has to channel that alter ego, Sasha Fierce, in order to perform. That's also dark sided Virgo as well. Virgo, again, being a mutable sign, can switch up when necessary, can be changeable, can be seamless in terms of getting into a different character. Yeah, that's Sasha. That's how she can transform into Sasha Fierce and be all, wild with it on stage. But then, in her personal life, she's probably very, insecure, very demure, very passive, very submissive. Also, think about Kim Richards. She is one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She is a Virgo. Total screw up, messy drug addict, constantly acts helpless, lashes out, has been prone to violent reactions if you are familiar with that show. She even had issues with her dog biting people and had lawsuits as a result. So, again, she's a drug addict, alcoholic drug addict, and a messy one. Shows on the surface. She looks all worn out, all stressed out all the time, always worrying. Just seems incompetent a lot of times, makes a mess of things. So very dark-sided Virgo as well. So that's my take on the dark-sided Virgo female. I hope you found this insightful. Please feel free to comment. Please like and subscribe. And my next video in terms of the dark-sided zodiac female series will be on the dark-sided Libra female. Please stay tuned.